Do you still encounter melancholic feelings even when you're trying to rework your self-concept and get along with manifestation? Do you feel like you just encounter a sad emotion randomly without knowing exactly where it came from, and it feels like it persists even if you try to change the state? That's completely okay. And that was something I dealt with before finding a solution. Let's look at this from a zoned out perspective. Think of yourself as divided into 3 categories: the physical human body, the mental psyche, and the eternal awareness. The most closely knit features is the relationship of the physical human body and the mental psyche. The physical body processes the outside world, and the mental psyche essentially internalizes these external processes inwardly. Think of the mental psyche body as holding your beliefs, and essentially it's your subconscious. It's your subconscious. Now, let's say that throughout your life you've been conditioned a certain way, and now you're trying to change old beliefs and old programming. You're doing almost every technique in the book to achieve a desired state, but it feels like something's missing. There's a sense of yearning deep inside you that seems like it can't be satiated. Think of your mental psyche as a body of information and foundations. While it's absolutely possible to change the mental psyche's belief systems and foundations, many have done it. There's another element to the equation that will provide you full freedom. And this is the third category of who you are, which is eternal awareness. Desire is poison. Desire is destruction. Desire is harmful, if in the wrong way. Because remember, Neville never says the desire to beg for something, to desperately cling to that, 11:11 sign you got after thinking about your desire. Unhealthy desire infiltrates your mental psyche because your illusory physical body perceives it as the only way of satiation. However, this is the secret. On a spiritual level, nothing truly external will fulfill you. Yes, it can aid in fulfilling you, but as the main source of it, I don't think it will. Nothing on the outside will completely satiate you. And what I'm talking about is a complete satiation. And the hunger for that complete satiation in the external can sometimes hurt us. Harsh words, but I say it with well-meaning, because the second part implies something even greater than you, and something that can change your life, and something that can help you discover a way to manifest that is both manifesting what you want, but also finding an eternal spiritual supply of inward abundance and inward fulfillment, so that you're free from seeking spiritual fulfillment solely in the external. There's nothing wrong with manifesting for the physical experience. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just we oftentimes encounter pain because we want that physical thing to satiate us in the now. And the thing is, we gotta kind of rewind that pattern of behavior. Think of this. Each person is I AMness, an eternal awareness that knows no desire, knows no duality, and knows no separation of mental identity. Some say it's love, some say it's bliss, but the main point is that it's calm, steady, and what Buddhists encounter during Vipassana meditation. I call it the start over button. While working on your belief systems, something that can be very, very helpful is to become empty, become desireless, become nothingness in meditation. When I did this, I felt freed from my external, freed from any sort of hankering. It introduced this mindful space where I could just process any kind of emotion while being still in my mind. And so those mindful meditations kind of built this repetitive sense of being able to detach more from the external and just kind of go inwardly, where I could just be sort of neutral in my mind and not overwhelmed with thoughts that were creating new stories and new patterns in my life. So, being mindful during the day, breathing through painful emotions with a still mind, learning to be content right here in the here and now. Now learning to tune into this eternal awareness as this observer that's in you, which needs nothing material, it just simply observes. And when you become that observer, and whenever you encounter pain and desire, you extinguish those harmful flames. It leaves you with a blank canvas, essentially. You remove all that is making you yearn and long through that kind of Vipassana meditation that focuses on breath. You discover the things that you actually want that will benefit you, because now you're operating from a sense of feeling more satiated, rather than, I don't think any desire is inherently bad. It's just the way that we might pursue those desires and let the ego get in the way of those desires. You can manifest anything, even if it's not necessarily best for you, actually, right? And so by clearing and dying to who you once were, you manifest things that add to something that's already beautiful inside you, and you discover that beauty, rather than clinging and always suffering for it. Flautist, what you cling to, usually, I've seen people who have broken this mold, but usually it runs away from you. What you desire will never fulfill you solely by itself, solely by its material expression. Sure, we need food, we need water. I hope everyone gets, the financial abundance that they get, that they want, that SP. Of course I want that. But then also, when it comes to understanding this more eternal source, those desires become secondary and actually become even more fun and more enjoyable because they're not the sole focus of your satiation. They're more like things that add on to you. And so what you're left with when you empty yourself, essentially, and become mindful, is that solely your old patterns don't seem like they matter as much because they were never you in the first place. You're not afraid of releasing emotional pain because you're not fighting them. You simply become still within your mind and let them express themselves. It's easier to develop into a new self-concept because you realize the base truth that every self-concept doesn't ultimately matter. And because each self-concept essentially is an egoic concept that the little I that you are not distinguishes itself as. And now when you go beyond I, right, and you just go to I am, not I am John, I am whatever, just I am. It's now the equivalent of choosing a new toy. Because when it comes down to it, it's just a toy you're selecting. It's not such a big deal anymore because you went beyond the self and discovered the element about you that's eternal. The core realization is that the only I am without the following condition matters. I am, just I am. Nothing else, nothing preceded, not I am sad, I am happy, just I am. The infinite neutral observer. And so now you're not attached to either the ego identification, to your emotions, and it makes it a lot easier to choose what you want to experience and the person that you want to be. And just kind of being fulfilled right now and being mindful now. And it easily catches up to the 3D when you're at that state. Because you're already at peace in the first place. So you're at peace with it because you don't cling to your desires fulfilling you. It supplements you, but the only permanent bliss that you'll experience is only access through imagination, mindfulness, and through focus upon that inward self. You and your love, for example, are not separated, maybe physically, but the love is always accessible through imagination, eternally in the now. And that feeling of being married is eternally accessed in the now. And you connect with the eternal imaginable form of someone through the realms of the mind that's infinitely more eternal than their fleeting physical form. And there's no choice but that physical union to take place because it already took place in imagination and then it births itself into the 3D. So yes, you deserve that 3D manifestation, but not at the cost of losing your soul to this burning flame of I want this, I want this, I want this. It's like a sickness that must be addressed and healed. And I know that well. I've swam and I've drowned in it. And there was one point I craved only for God and for eternal love. Searching, hankering for it. But it was inside me all along. And that was such a twist to me. And I kept searching, but it was right inside of me. I kept going outwards when I had to go inwards. So that's the thing. You can't grasp and hold on to something outwards. You have to find the peace of it inside. All the best.